Man bought a voice recorder for $5 from a flea market, but what was in the recordings froze him. James enjoyed searching for unique items at flea markets. One Saturday, while browsing through a table of old electronics, he found a dusty, vintage voice recorder. It looked like it hadn't been used in years. The seller told him it still worked and offered it for a few dollars. Curious, James bought it without thinking much about it. Later that night, he sat in his living room and turned it on. To his surprise, there were still recordings saved on the device. He pressed play, expecting to hear an old interview or random notes. Instead, a deep voice filled the room. The first few recordings were nothing unusual, someone talking about their daily life, making reminders and humming a tune. But as James skipped through the tracks, he found one that made his stomach drop. A man's shaky voice whispered, "If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. He found me." James paused, his heart pounding. The voice continued, "I should have never taken it. I know he's watching. I hear him at night. I don't have much time." The recording ended abruptly, but what the next recording said made him leave the home immediately. Shaken by the eerie message, James continued listening to the recordings. One stood out. It wasn't a warning, but directions. The voice, now calmer, gave clear instructions to a specific location. Curious, James decided to check it out. The next morning, he followed the directions, which led him deep into an old forest outside town. After walking for nearly an hour, he reached a large, twisted tree, just as the recording described. His hands trembled as he dug beneath it, unsure of what he would find. Soon, his fingers hit something solid. He cleared away the dirt and pulled out an old wooden box, covered in dust and rusted metal. He hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened it. Inside, James found something he never expected: gold. Coins, bars, and jewelry filled the box, shining even in the dim light of the forest. But among the gold was a folded note. He carefully opened it and read the words written in shaky handwriting. "I did a lot of bad things in my life. If you find this, use this money for good." James stared at the note, his mind racing. Who was this person? What had they done? And why had they hidden so much gold? He had no answers, only the weight of the decision before him. He brought the gold home and spent weeks thinking about what to do. He wasn't in the best financial condition himself, but something in his heart told him the right choice. In the end, he made a decision. He would use the gold to help others. Instead of keeping any of it for himself, James used the fortune to start a charity, helping struggling families and children in need. Though he never knew the man behind the recordings, he honored his last wish by turning his hidden past into something good. What started as a simple flea market find became the most important discovery of his life.